Okay, great. Well, let's get started. Your goal is always to start on time, right? We're talking about goals. So let's get rolling with this workshop. Thank you all for being here and joining us early in the year. And I appreciate that you are focused on setting some goals for 2023. And hopefully this will be the best year for all of us, right? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Denise Gamez, and it's not letting me move the slides, Abby.
Hang on one second. You have co-host permission, so try. Are you using the arrow?
I am.
Try.
It was letting me do it a minute ago.
It was. It was. Maybe stop.
There we go.
Okay, got it.
So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Denise Gamez, and yes, I am technologically challenged sometimes, but I am Director of Member Services with Atticus, and I've been with Atticus a little over 11 years. And essentially, I am the first person people speak with prior to joining a program, much like Terry Hayes. A lot of you are here probably because Terry invited you to this webinar as well. And so we both have sort of the same, I guess, job description here with Atticus. So welcome and thank you for being here. If you'd like to stay connected with Atticus, there's some great ways to do it. We have a lot of free resources and webinars, past webinars, great articles, things like that on our website. That's atticusadvantage.com. You can join our mailing list through atticusadvantage.com. And we have a phenomenal podcast that just launched in the last couple of weeks that Steve Riley leads. He's an attorney and shareholder with Atticus. It's called Great Practice, Great Life, which is our goal for you guys. And it's a different topic. He releases, I think, at least one a week. And so it's always new and updated information. You can check it out. For today, we do encourage you to participate. So have pencil and paper ready. Take lots of notes. The reason I tell people, to take notes, the biggest lie I tell myself constantly is that I'm going to remember that. So I don't need to write it down. And then I never remember it, right? And so if you hear a great idea or something we say gives you a thought or a question, make sure you take a note on that. And so you can always email me later with that question. We can set up a phone call. Our goals for you today, we want to help you think about the way you think about growing your practice. You can get stuck into a rut of I'm an attorney and often forget that you are a business owner as well. And so we want you to think differently about how you approach the business aspects of your practice. We're going to talk about what you learned from 2022. So what worked really well for you? What didn't work so great? Did you take the initiative and do some experiments and things maybe turned out way better than you thought? And then we're going to work on a plan for 2023. And we're going to start your growth for 2023. So goal one, again, we want to think, I gotta move this. Sorry, how you think about growing your practice. And so again, your business skills are going to be the catalyst for your practice growth. Too often, again, we're in that great lawyer mindset and we start thinking about, I'm a lawyer, I need to do legal work. The technical legal work is the most important thing I can do. When truly it's not. The most important thing you can do is think about how to grow your practice and think about it as a business owner. So your legal skills plus your business skills are going to equal the profitable practice for you. So these are the 4 areas that Atticus works with members on constantly. It's sort of like the fundamentals of your golf swing. These are going to be the fundamentals of building your law practice and growing it. So your legal skills are the basis for all of that. That's your talent. That's what got you to where you are. But now we're going to work and focus on growing. And so we work on time management, so it's focus tools, learning how to take control of your day, having it scheduled, protect yourself from interruptions. We also look at marketing and client selection. How can we attract higher value cases? Again, a lot of attorneys, when you first meet them, they're in that 80% of law firm owner, which is in that great lawyer phase. The technical legal work is the most important thing. And they're not thinking about how to attract higher value cases or better clients. They're taking whoever will come in the threshold. And we call that practicing threshold law. So you're scrambling and they're not profitable cases, but it's generating revenue and it's keeping your cash flow from stopping, but they're not great cases. And then building the great team, you want a great team surrounding you. When you're in that great lawyer mindset, you know, you're Batman or Wonder Woman, and we want to take you from being the superhero to being, you know, the great team, having everyone wrapped around you. So it's like the Justice League. So you have help. And then the profitability and cash flow. We're looking at the pipeline. Are there snags in the pipeline, bottlenecks causing cases to not get through the pipeline as quickly as they should, causing cash flow crunches again? And again, is it profitable? Are the cases profitable for you? So those are the 4 fundamentals where we work with you, kind of getting all those systems and processes in place so that you can strategically grow your practice. And again, the shift from great lawyer to dominant market leader, you know, when you're starting out, you're managing yourself. You're taking on everything. You're changing the toner and the copier. You are calling the IT guy. You are, you know, everything is on you. Then you grow and you grow to manage a team. And so now you're managing 7 or 8 people. At that point, you will probably, again, your growth will be stunted because you can really only manage about 7 or 8 people until you're maxed out. And so then when you keep growing in order to grow more, you have to start shifting your role from managing a team or managing yourself to managing a manager, to where you can have a manager of one department and you're working with only that person, and a manager of another department is intake. So you're working with the intake manager. So we want you to get to where you are just managing managers. The biggest struggle we see when people are setting goals or changing or making changes in their personal life, their practice, whatever it is they've lost their why. So this is the Atticus Change Formula, and it all circles around your why. I talk to attorneys a lot, and I'll get, I hear this one a lot where it's like, well, I had, you know, I was doing 400,000 a year in revenue, 500,000, and I did that for 2 or 3 years, and then it went to 350, and now it's down to 3 or 275 in gross revenue, and I don't understand what changed. And I'll often ask them, well, what happened? Was there any kind of significant change in your personal life? Was there significant change in practice? And I've gotten this answer more than once. Well, I had 2 kids in college, and they both graduated. They're out on their own, so their why is gone. Their why was they knew they had to pay tuition, that was going to be on them, right? So their why is gone. So what you need to do when you start setting your goals is figure out your why. Why am I doing this? Why do I want to grow my practice? Why am I focused on my practice? So your why is your compelling reason. Then bring in some accountability and follow-up. Figure out your strategy and coaching, whether that's with Atticus or if it's an accountability partner. Maybe you have a great friend who's also an attorney. They can hold you accountable. Because when you think about it, New Year's is great for this one. When you go to the gym on January 1st or January 2nd, what do you see? Like a filled up parking lot, right? By March 31st, what do you see? About half of those people. And a lot of that is they've lost the accountability. They don't have it. Either they don't have a workout partner, or they didn't hire a trainer. So there's no one holding them accountable to showing up to the gym the way they thought they wanted to. They set that goal. So it's easy to set goals. It's harder to do the work to get that goal if you are not held accountable or have strategy and coaching in place. You'll lose your focus. Okay. And so, let's back over so I can see. Thanks. Setting goals is a business skill. And we find that people have a hard time doing it for some reason. And, you know, I talked to, especially in December, you know, talking to a lot of attorneys, have you set your goals yet for 2023? Well, you know, I've thought about them. I have them in my head, but they haven't written them down. And it can be scary setting goals. And one is you didn't learn how to do it. Maybe you never were taught how to set goals or how to build out a strategy. Or you tried it once, maybe it didn't work, kind of because maybe you didn't have the accountability or follow-up. Or maybe you set unrealistic goals, and that can happen. You want to make sure that it's reasonable so that you don't set yourself up for failure. Another one is I don't have time to work on them. I don't have time to deal with goals. Oh my gosh, I'm buried with legal work and I don't have time to think about my practice as a business. And if that's the issue, then it's a time management issue that you have. We work with folks on time management. It's in our practice growth program. It's the very first module that we start with, because without great time management, nothing else is going to work right. Without great time management, if you try to build your marketing machine, you're going to get out there, you're going to market. Well, guess what happens? Business starts coming in the door and you get busy. And when that happens, if you don't have good time management structure in place, you're going to collapse under the business. You're going to stop marketing. And stop and go marketing creates stop and go cash flow. So implementing a good strategic time management system is going to be key in you achieving the goals that you're going to set for yourself. Flat out, I suck at this. Goals are terrible. I don't like them. I'm horrible at setting them. I don't follow through, all of that. And then the worst feeling in the world is that you failed, right? So if I don't set goals, I can't fail. If I have a decent year and it's all on chance, at least I had a decent year, but I didn't fail at anything. And so it can be scary because failure is not fun, right? Nobody likes to fail. So setting those goals, avoiding it because you don't want to fail is just not a good route to go. Oops. I guess it's just running a little slow, Abby. So why is it worth it? Why would you want to set goals? It's sort of like, do you want a repeat of 2022? So if you don't want that repeat, if you want to get rid of some stress, if you want to know exactly where your revenue will be coming from, that's why it's worth it. And it's, the future really is yours to create. Only you can set your goals and only you can create your future, but without writing it out, without understanding, having direction and focus, it's probably not going to happen. So then you have to create new behaviors and develop new skills. And we always say you can't manage what you don't measure, and you can't measure what you don't track. And so writing out your goals, looking at them every 30 days and saying, okay, I've made progress, because you want to celebrate the progress, right? We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But measuring and writing it out and tracking is how you will achieve the goals. It'll maximize your results. And you'll learn. So you'll learn what worked, what didn't work, and have some great ideas for improvement. There's some statistics out there about setting goals, and it says 80% of the population does not write down their goals. So they're the folks going, I have them in my head. And the other 20% that do, statistic is that 42% of the 20% actually hit their goals. So they wrote them down, they're holding themselves accountable, and they have some follow-up and focus and structure in place for it. And again, I said this is interactive, so if you have some questions, you can put them in the chat box. I think Abby is going to monitor that for us. So again, at Atticus, it's great practice, great life. So we want you to have both. We want you to have a great practice that runs itself. We want you to have a great life. We don't want you to forget that your personal life is just as important. So maybe you have some goals in your mind about financial goals that you want to hit, health goals that you want to hit. Do you want to lose weight? Social, I want to get out and market maybe, or I want to meet new people. I want to have better mental health. And I want to spend more time with my family. That's one of the biggest reasons I hear when people join Atticus or some from our members, the reason they're working so hard to create structure and goals in their practice is so they can spend more time with their family. And again, that all goes back to time management. Without that, you're going to be working too many hours. You might miss your kids' soccer practice. You might miss a rehearsal. You might miss a game. And so spending time with family, maybe that's your why. So don't skip over the personal reasons. A lot of times people feel it's selfish. Well, it's kind of selfish that I want to make more money. Or it's selfish that I want to be healthier. Or maybe it's selfish that I want to spend more time with my family when you get so honed in on running the practice and creating the goals for the practice that you feel spending that time with your family is selfish on your side. So be selfish, right? the best way for you to build your practice too is to create that great life for yourself. So what are some of the business goals that you have? So is it building the skills for growth? Is it implementing systems and processes to make it everything run more smoothly in the practice? Is it building the great team? Because one of the biggest challenges we hear from attorneys is hiring, right? I can't find a great staff. And too often you're hiring just to fill a seat instead of strategically thinking about what that role looks like and how to create a great work environment for that person and keeping them. And you know, one of the most expensive hires you can make is the cheapest salary you pay. And so it's thinking in terms of, I want to strategically hire this person and make sure that I give them all the tools they need so that they want to stay for us. Taking time off. We really emphasize this one at Atticus. Our Dominate Your Market members are challenged to take 175 days off. And I know all of you are laughing right now, but they do. They take 175 days off, 104 weekends, 71 other vacation days. The reason we emphasize time off, it's rest for your brain, right? If you went to the gym and you worked your legs every single day, they're not going to get stronger. They're going to be fatigued. And so that's what happens with your brain. And so the more you work it, the more tired it becomes. And so folks who take time off, they come back and say, I just had the best idea I've ever had for my practice, because they allowed their brain to rest and get some time away. So we really emphasize taking time off, taking personal time, increasing your referrals. Maybe your marketing machine isn't where you want it to be right now. And so we want to, maybe focus on, if I changed this in my marketing, if I listened to Denise and had 3 marketing contacts every week, then I would increase my referrals. And we do recommend three marketing contacts, whatever that is. It could be a lunch, it could be a speaking engagement, it could be bar association event, whatever that is. It's going to help. You're going to see a drastic increase in your referrals coming in. Abby, do we have any questions so far? No questions? Okay.
No questions yet, no?
Okay, great. So you want to make your goals smart, right? So be specific in what your goal is. Make sure that you can measure the goal. Create accountability around it. Be reasonable and have it on a timeline. So you can't go into something saying, I want to lose 50 pounds in 90 days, right? Right, be specific, but it's not reasonable or realistic. But what you can say is, as of January 1st or January 5th, because that's today, I want to lose 10 pounds by March 15th. Okay, so now you've done what? You've made it specific, measurable, reasonable, and it's on a timeline. Because if you just say, I want to lose 10 pounds this year, you're going to give yourself till June, July, August, and August is going to come around and go, I still haven't lost those 10 pounds. So you want to put it on a timeline and hold yourself accountable. Tell your friends that my goal is to lose 10 pounds, so that they're holding you accountable at the very minimum, that your friends, maybe your workout buddy can hold you accountable to that. So whatever it is with your practice, your personal life, if you want to double your revenue, okay, say I want to go from 200,000 to 400,000. That's specific, measurable. The accountability through a coaching structure. It's reasonable, because everyone thinks, doubling my revenues, it's not going to double your workload. It's not going to double your stress level if you have the systems and processes in place. So doubling your revenue is reasonable as long as your timeline is realistic. And so if you say, I want to double my revenues in the next 12 to 18 months, that hits all of those points. It's specific, it's reasonable, it's on a timeline, you can measure it. And then it's creating a process to say, okay, what does that look like? Does doubling my revenues, if I want to do that, how many cases does that mean in the next 90 days? What specific type of case? What revenue will be generated type of case? And then it's creating the process to go through that and your roadmap on how to do that. But you have to keep all of these 5 things in mind when you're creating goals for yourself. If not, it's a good way to set yourself up for failure, and we don't want to do that. Okay.
Denise,
So goal number 2, yes.
sorry to cut you off. We do actually have a question in the chat box.
Okay, great.
Jennifer asks, if goals are to increase revenue, hire staff, take time off, increase referrals, etc., how do you decide which to focus on to drive the others? It seems like a chicken and egg scenario.
It can be, but you hire, hiring will create capacity, if that makes sense. And so hire before growth is my recommendation. And you can't look at hiring as an expense. You have to look at it as an investment. And so when you hire that person, then it's about strategic delegation. So if you're hiring a paralegal and you have an associate and you have you, there are things that associate is doing probably not the highest and best use of their time. Just as there are things that you as a law firm owner, there are things you're doing that's not the highest and best use of your time either. So it's about strategic delegation, delegating to the lowest level of competency. So you're filling them. A second thing to keep in mind in hiring is you want them at the rule of three. So you're creating profitability through the hire. So if there's someone you can bill for, so say a paralegal, you want them at the rule of three, which is 3 times their salary. So if they're making $50,000 a year, you want them generating revenue of $150,000. The reason for that, the first $50,000 covers them. Second $50,000 covers fixed costs, staff you can't bill for, rent, lights, all of those things. Third $50,000 should be yours as a law firm owner's as profit and distribution at the end of the year. And so really, I would say hire and market to get those referrals in the door. So hopefully I answered your question. If not, you can always email me. We can set up a quick call. But my email, just so you know, is Denise, DENISEG at atticusadvantage.com. So it's Denise G at Atticus Advantage. Any other questions, Abby? Okay. All right. So learning from 2022. What worked and what didn't. And I don't know if you've gone back and had time to even look at what may have worked and not worked in 2022, but it's a great place to start when you're looking at progress for 2023. And so, you know, ask yourself, well, what worked? Was it a hire that I made? Was it promoting somebody? Was it delegating tasks off your desk? What didn't work? Maybe it was a bad hire. Maybe the marketing strategy you used didn't work. What did you learn? And how can you improve off of what you're analyzing, all the data you're analyzing from 2022? And so we're going to take out the learning bridge. This is a form we use with all of our members at Atticus, and you guys should have received it. But it's essentially analyzing what I just talked about. So taking a look at 2022, and I'm going to give you guys some time to go through this exercise. So what worked and why? What didn't work and why? What are the top 3 lessons you learned? And what can I do to improve the performance? So it's not just your performance, it's the performance of your team as well. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes, maybe, Abby, to go through this.
Yes, I'm about to send
Does
it
that
in the
sound
chat box here in just a second. I'm just getting ready.
All right, perfect. Okay, so you can just download it and fill it out. Or if you just want to use a pen and paper that you have on your desk, it's fine too. But yeah, so we're going to just take a few minutes to analyze and get you heading in the right direction so far for today. We have an example of this. So here's an example too. This isn't mine, but it is one of our shareholders at Atticus. It's one of his learning bridges. So it might give you some ideas and thoughts. About another minute or so. I see some people are still working, but we're gonna start moving on. It's a lot, I know, and to only have 5 minutes to work on it, it's kind of tough. But it just gives you a good head start so that when we wrap up today, you can maybe finish the worksheet. So there we go. So now we're going to continue working on your growth plan a little bit. So I want you to shift your mindset now to 12 months from now. So January of 2024, and we're back here meeting and talking and doing some strategic planning for our goals. What are the 3 things that you are celebrating a year from now that came out of your goal sheets, that came out of your working on it? I want you to think about what 3 things, top 3 things that if we could celebrate next January, what would they be? Think about how you're going to get there. What strategic steps will you have to take in order to reach those goals? And when will you start planning? Well, you should start planning now, right? But yeah, when will you start the planning and implementation of that? So we have another worksheet. It's our 3 big rocks. And so really we talk at Atticus about, what are the top 3 things that would make this the best year ever? Because it's so easy to get kind of diluted. I have 10 or 12 things I want to have happen, and I'm working on all this craziness. But we really want you to whittle it down and focus on 3 things. And so this is your 3 big rocks worksheet. And I want you to print this out or think about in terms of this. And I'm going to give you another couple of minutes here to work on this. And so it's really, what are the 3 things that you're going to be celebrating a year from now because they happened? So go ahead and start working on that. Be about another minute and a half. About 30 more seconds. Hopefully you've been at least able to identify what the three big rocks are. Even if you haven't gotten all the way through the worksheet. Okay, we're gonna move on. My computer will let me. There we go. So, what do you want to do in the next 24 hours? What are your next steps to get to your three big rocks, to figure out where you really want to focus? We do have a great workshop coming up that's online. It's normally $99, but we're giving you 50% off today if you register through this workshop. So it's the power hour, and it's really, it's going to be on time management. And yeah, I touched on it briefly. We didn't have a lot of time today to dive into time management, but it is really the most important foundational element. It's one to start with to achieve all the rest of the goals. And so that'll be a great workshop. Also, if you want to schedule a private consultation with me, you can do that. You can email me, deniseg@atticusadvantage.com. I'll be happy to go over with you your big three rocks, how you want to approach them, what's a great strategy leading into 2023 into the first quarter, because really that first quarter is going to be so key to you hitting all of the goals that you set for yourself. So hopefully we've gotten to shift your mindset just a little bit today and get you focused and in the right direction. Although I know it's a very fast workshop. Going back to the accountability, if you're interested, we do have some upcoming programs that can help you. One is our practice growth program. We're launching one in San Francisco in March and one in Orlando in February. Also, I've talked about doubling your revenues. So we have 2 of those workshops happening. I'll be leading the one in Houston, co-leading with Mark Whitehead, who is a member of Atticus, and he has a thriving disability law firm in Houston. So you will get some firsthand knowledge there. And February 17th, our founder, Mark Powers, will be hosting and leading the Double Your Revenue workshop in Orlando. And then again, we have the workshop coming up February 15th. That's online. So there's something to check out as well. I see some things happening in the chat box. Abby, are there questions in there?
No questions. I was just providing them with
Okay.
the links to schedule an appointment with you and Terry, and then
Okay.
emails for you and Terry as well. I also provided the Power Hour workshop link and the code that you could type in for 50% off.
Yeah, so that's going to be a great workshop to really help you get launched with controlling your days and being able to be focused on achieving the goals you're setting. So we have a couple of minutes left. If you have any questions, just throw them at me. You can put them in the chat box, or I can't see everyone. We have so many people on this one today. We have about 80 people on this webinar today. So chat box is probably the easiest way. Abby, you think, to get the questions to us?
Yes, I don't see any yet,
Okay.
but feel free to input them, and then I can ask Denise any questions you may have or any comments.
Okay, so we'll just hang out for another minute and see if anybody has any questions.
We did have a question come through from Jennifer. She asked if the events are in person, or is there anything that can be done remotely?
The only remote we have right now are these workshops like today. So they're an hour and a half, 45 minutes to an hour and a half. Everything else is in person. So our Double Your Revenue workshops are in person, and Practice Growth, all of our group coaching programs. We do offer private coaching, which is all done on Zoom or on the phone. So that's just a conversation to have. We can figure out if that's a great fit with you if you want to schedule a call with me. But as far as our workshops, they're all in person again. So. All right, well, I think I'm gonna let you guys go about 5 minutes early. So yeah, you got 5 minutes of your day back. Terry, I just want to check in with you really quickly to see if I missed anything.
No, I think you covered it all, but I'd like to tell everybody you will be doing the Double Your Revenue in Houston. So if they can't get enough of you, they can go there. That is live.
Denise, we just had 2 questions actually pop up in the chat real quick. So the first one is there a software that you recommend for holding yourself accountable with goals?
I definitely recommend having software. I don't have one that I personally recommend because it's like when you're using any kind of software in your law firm, it's specific to your how you're structured and what your goals are. If it's like a nutrition one, I like the health app on the iPhones. If it's it's great for steps too, tracking your steps. But if it's a fitness, I have a lot of fitness apps, so I can help you on that one. But as far as setting these goals and doing that, I don't have a specific one.
David asks, he said, I am transitioning from a solo practice to a firm with 4 or 5 attorneys. I will be working on cases, marketing, etc. What is the best way to get into that?
Into the marketing? I would say start looking around your market. Identify people that you think would work well with you. So do they have the same mindset as you? Do they have the same values as you? And start reaching out and setting appointments and saying, hey, this is what I do. Because they're not going to know what you do until you tell them. And it just depends on what type of law you're practicing, David, as far as who you might be targeting for referral sources. And if you want, again, we can chat offline about that. I'd be happy to. And we do have a great Rainmaker program that is specifically focused on time management and marketing. So it's all online. That's all done remote. So we do have that great program for if you're trying to build a book of business. Okay. I think I'm going to let everyone go, but I hope to hear from some of you guys. And I hope that in 12 months, we are celebrating some wins for everybody. We'll talk to you soon.